Hello, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us here on Midday Live. Ahead in this bulletin: handling political party thuggery. Is the police council well composed to deal with it? We'll speak to a policing expert. Also coming up today is World Cancer Day. Is the fight won? We ask. And later in the bulletin, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro warns of civil war as pressure mounts on him to stand down. We've got details of these stories plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Thanks very much for joining us. My name is Kwesi Asari. Be reminded that we're also streaming live on Facebook. You can join us with the views, comments and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Do also visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter. We begin from the courts because former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslock, Sedina Christine Tamaklu Ationu, and the former Operations Manager of Maslock, Daniel Axim, have both pleaded not guilty to 80 counts of stealing, causing financial loss to the state, causing loss to public property, improper payment of public funds, unauthorized commitment resulting in financial obligation for the government, money laundering and contravention of the Public Procurement Act. Right, so our court correspondent Godfred Tanam joins us with live update to the story. Godfred, so what more do we know about this story?
Right, so the court started by reading out the 78 charges that were leveled against the former CEO of Maslock, and who told the court that she wasn't guilty to any of the charges. So after that, the court decided to the court told the accused, the lawyers of the prosecution, to give out documents that they have in their possession to the accused person's lawyers. That is, he's giving them 10 days to do that. So the accused person's lawyers also have 3 weeks to study the documents and come back to court. So in all, the former CEO of Maslock and the operation manager, he is the current operation manager for Maslock for the southern sector, have been granted bail, and then the Maslock former CEO is granted bail with 5 million cedis with 2 sureties, and then the operation manager is granted bail with 1 million with 2 sureties. So they are supposed to present their passport to the court registrar to make sure that they do not move out of the country when the case move on.
And Godfred, were the 2 accused persons in court today?
The 2 accused persons were all in court. Both in court today, and they listened to the charges leveled against them, and that is when they told the court that they were not guilty to any of the charges.
All right, thank you very much. Godfred Tanam is our court correspondent, bringing us to speed with latest development with regard to the court case involving the former Maslock Chief Executive Officer. Let's do some other stories now. And the Ghana Police Service cannot be professional in their duties unless laws governing the appointment of their leaders and operations are reformed. Well, that's according to the Director of the Police Transformation Programs at the Police Headquarters, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo. He was speaking at a symposium organized by the Institute for Democratic Governance, the IDEG, to discuss ways to eradicate political vigilantism.
The Federal General Police shall be appointed by the President, acting in consultation with the Council of State. Who are the Council of State? Who appointed them? Where is their loyalty? Don't answer. Keep it to yourselves. Now, the Inspector General of Police shall be head of the police service, but shall be subject to the provision of the article and to the control and direction of the Police Council. Who is the Police Council? Headed by the Vice President, who is also a party member and a member of the government. What kind of advice do you expect from him? Now, the third one, subject to the provision of the Constitution, the power to appoint persons to hold or to act in an office in the police service shall vest in the President. Are you getting the point? Now, if he is the President, what else do you expect? Act acting in accordance with the advice of the police council. Who is the police council? You know. Now, this is the composition of the police council in that. The vice president is a party man. It doesn't matter whether it's MPP or NDC. This is what we have given us, and this is what we work with. Now, a minister responsible for internal affairs, who is he? He's a party man. Then you have the Inspector General of Police appointed by the president. The president can dismiss him at any point in time, and therefore his loyalty is partial. It doesn't matter whether he was appointed by MPP or NDC. His loyalty is divided. Because he can be appointed today and dismissed tomorrow. And the worst scenario is when he is appointed to be acting capacity. It means I'm watching you. That is what it means. Now, the Attorney General is a party man. Then you have a lawyer nominated, that one maybe, impartial, a representative of police, very well. 2 members of the police service appointed by the president. So who is that? Those people. Once they are appointed by the president, you know where they are coming from. Then 2 other members appointed by the president. So the whole composition of the police council is the president.
All right, so we're going to stay a while longer on the subject. Now, what you just watched happened sometime last year in November. We're going to do some more analysis on this story. Dr. Justice Tankebe is a lecturer at Cambridge University and he's an expert in policing. Thank you very much, Dr. Tankebe, for your time. Now, is Ghana's policing challenges associated with the way the top hierarchy of the service are appointed?
I think thank you for having me anyway. I think we've got fundamentally 2 problems with the current situation with the police. One is the problem of the kind of relationship they have with politicians, which we need to address. The second one is just the sheer lack of innovation in policing. And I think there are a few things we can do to try to change the policing environment or the architecture. My suggestion would be that we rethink the way we have organized the police. So rather than having a centralized police administration with one police chief, I think we should make the various regional commands an independent or autonomous police service with their own police chiefs. So we currently have 11 police regions. We just created 6 additional political regions. We could add those to the 11, making 17. So we should have 17 independent police services. And then we create an overarching national accountability institution, one that will have a dual purpose. The first of these will be to do regular inspections of the various police forces and to make recommendations for improvement. And then the other function will be to investigate allegations against the police to ensure greater accountability in police work. I think unless we're able to go that far, the current arrangement and the police council and all those sort of things don't seem to be really, whatever purpose they were meant to serve, I think they have outlived that purpose. And so we need to rethink how we organize things.
Now,
and in terms of the politicization, I have said elsewhere that we need to have a clearer understanding of the relationship between the police and politicians. It isn't supposed to be a kind of a friendship relationship, because that's where the compromise starts from. We need to have a relationship in which the police themselves are willing to assert their own authority and to be clear on what the cost to their own career, some of them might be, and to be willing to
and how can they possibly assert their authority when they appear to be appointed by the president? Is that not problematic?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about, a different way of organizing the police. So if we did what I'm suggesting, we should have a way that police chiefs needn't be appointed by the president. Police chiefs should go through a normal system of recruitment. We should advertise the jobs. People should apply, and there should be interviews conducted to recruit the best available candidate for the job without having the president playing any direct role. If it's a question about accountability, we should have a national external accountability institution that is able to not just investigate allegations against the police, whether about cases that they fail to investigate, whether it's about misconduct of whatever form, but also an institution that has the purpose of helping the police to introduce greater innovation into the policing. We currently just lack that. Much of policing has to be evidence-based, and I don't think we're doing much in that direction.
All right, I've got to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Justice Tankebi, lectures at the Cambridge University in the United Kingdom, helping us to do some analysis on the subject. Be reminded that you can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour, particularly on this issue. Let's know what you make of this developing story. Now, in the aftermath of the violence at the home of the NDC candidate in the just ended Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections, a security expert, Adam Bona, has asked 21 questions needing answers on the role of the hooded security man said to be from national security. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief highlight of what Adam Bona has been saying. Now, just take a critical look at this. Watch our screens right now. So these are the 21 questions that Adam Bona, who's a security expert, has been posing. Now, he wants to know, for instance, what the name of the commander who led the supposed national security operatives into the deadly shootings at La Bawaleshi is. He wants to know the level of training, the rank of the commander who led this particular operation, if any, who issued the instructions to shoot, at what point did the national security pick intelligence on individuals with deadly weapons but failed to involve other sector security agencies. Just to bring a few more of the questions as we're asking, what are the names of the officers who were used? Are they party boys? Anyway, what is the full meaning of NSC? How many bullets were fired or discharged? What types of guns or firearms were used? Where from the brand new firearms used? Since when did the NS change its mandate of coordinating other security agencies to keeping firearms and maintaining a standby security force? So these are the questions that Adam Bona, who's a security analyst, has been asking in the aftermath of the Ayawaso by-elections. He's joined me right here in the studio, Adam Bona, as well as Mr. Kofi Palu. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. I'll start off with you, Adam Bona. So what informed these 21 questions?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers, and good afternoon to my good friend Kofi Palu. What informed the 21 questions? I want to believe that in a situation like we saw, in every organized country, there's supposed to be proper investigations into what happened. And so these questions, I'm probably trying to say, if there's going to be any investigative committee as the IGP did enumerate, I think he came out to say they were going to investigate. I want to believe that this would be probably some of the questions they would have to answer. And also, there is a lot of doubt in some of us, our mind. Probably those of us who even have knowledge in security, intelligence, counterintelligence, there are a lot of things that didn't add up. And so, if the government and the National Security Ministry would be able to answer probably 50% of these questions, I believe that there will be clarity with regards to how the security architecture of this country looks like at the moment. But as we speak, if you ask me, since this incident in Ayawaso West Wagon, I am completely at sea with regards to the security architecture in this country. In terms of the way it's supposed to look, per my understanding and probably per law, you have the national security first, you have the Ministry of Interior that coordinates the other agencies, then the Ministry of Defense that coordinates the military. And they have, roles they play. The national security is supposed to be monitoring, evaluating, advising with regards to intelligence, making sure that they know who is coming in, who is doing what. But for some time now, we've seen a bit of disturbances with people either getting shot, armed robbery, violent robbery cases, and all that. And so to me, national security seems to be drifting away from its core mandate. And so under the write-up, I did indicate the core functions of the national security and their goal per the establishment. as it's been put out. But unfortunately,
right,
they've drifted.
Adam, but I'll come back to you later for more on this. Kofi Akpaloo is leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana, and they were also involved in the by-elections at Ayawaso last week. Kofi, thank you very much for your time, and good to have you in the studio. What's your candidate's own assessment of last week's by-elections?
Oh, everything went smoothly. There wasn't any issue concerning the election itself, because all the 137 polling stations, there wasn't any single issue. Actually, this security thing that you're talking about, the incident that occurred, actually did not happen in any of the polling stations. It did happen at the NDC candidates' residence. So I don't know what actually prompted that.
How do you know this?
Yes, because that's the information that we got. Because
but your information is contrary to what the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers has released. I don't think you had people.
Oh no, you can trust them.
Hmm.
You can believe them. But that's what I know. This is what I observed. This is what I experienced.
Were you there?
I was there. I was there.
You were in all the polling stations. All the polling stations.
All the polling stations. Yeah, because we visited all the polling stations. Even the polling station that is close to where that incident happened. Didn't happen at the police station. Are you okay? So the election, there wasn't any issue with the election. Everything went fine. It was transparent. It was free and fair. But this, the hawks and then the invisibles and the data force thing, I mean, it's outside this. So I don't want anybody to link it to the election.
Kofi, what do you make about the level of voter turnout?
Actually, because, in the last election, people were not happy with MDC. So about 1 million people did not vote for John Mahama, who voted for him in 2012. And 2019, 71,000 people did not come up to vote. The reason is that they are not happy with what is happening, even the current situation. And the NDC to have not made any. They have not even changed
we
a
recorded less than 20% of voter turnout.
Yes.
You do not think that the isolated cases of violence
no, not at all.
accompanied with
not at all.
gunshots
people
possibly could have caused people not to come out to vote?
People are simply not happy with MPP and NDC.
So you find absolutely nothing wrong with the gunshots?
No, not at all.
And the men who were...
It didn't scare anybody to come out to vote, because you see, people went there to vote. If even not a single person went out to vote, then we would have concluded with that. But so far as you had about 17,000 people coming out to vote, doesn't tell you that
you are not worried that you are not worried that for a simple by-election like
no, you see, people are not happy because they are not getting
men in hooded uniforms who came there holding
you see the
sophisticated weapons.
No. You see the same people. Yeah, if you have go back to NDC primaries, the last primaries they had at the trade fair, the same people with the same uniform were there guiding their ballot boxes. The same uniform. They were guiding their ballot boxes. So what is new today? You see, we have to face their reality. People are simply not happy with both MPP and NDC. People are not happy. So that's why they don't see the need to come out to vote. Vote for what? Are you okay? Because people who are looking for their businesses to grow. People are looking for monies in their pocket. People are expecting to see something new, something different in their lifestyle. Are you okay? But they are not getting. That's why they didn't come out to
So how do we answer all these 21 questions? Who's going to answer them for you?
Well, I'm expecting government and the national security to answer. One of the key questions I did put out there had to do with who is in charge of national security. When the president, I think with very good intentions, the president decided to put a lot of people in the security sector, because prior to that we had series of challenges. And just like he did allude to, I wasn't happy, in previous years with the involvement of national security going after people, unrestricted the way they did it. And so when we now had the national security minister and the person of Kandapar, I thought that we're going to see the end to this type of atrocities and having hoodlums going after, people when it is not their mandate. And so to come into 2019, when some of us who, have knowledge in the security sector thought that it was going to be quiet, we were going to experience a lot of improvement, then we are going back to have something that, if you ask me, I haven't seen this maybe I might have seen it. Not even 79, the 79 coup. The soldiers who took over, if you ask Rawlings, former President Rawlings, I mean, he and his boys took over this country. If you ask him, when they were going to take over this country, they didn't wear these hoods. When they charged and took over this country in 79 and ran down everybody, we slept from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We didn't see them in hoods. We saw soldiers with rifles, not people like this. And so for me, it tells us that we haven't learned any lessons. And so when these 21 questions are answered, there'll be clarity.
Well, Kofi doesn't seem to have a problem with that.
Well, for me, I mean, we can disagree. I mean, I wouldn't say he's wrong. We can disagree. But the point still remains that until national security is fully sorted, the FBIs, the CIAs, the MI6, the MI5s are in charge of some of these things. Right. And you don't see them going this way. Let
me just quickly take your wrap-up comment.
Actually, this MPP and NDC should dismantle their what do you call them, the vigilante groups. Because the NDC, instead of helping that we dismantle this invisible and data force, they came up with hawks. And I think I saw one of the hawks in your video you are showing. So one of the hawks, they were trying to pull him out from that house, that tall guy, you know. So, I mean, all this...
You don't know for a fact that he's a hawk, do you?
Oh, no, we've seen his pictures all over.
Okay, thank you very much.
So,
Kofi Akpaloo is leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Adam Bona is a security analyst. We're going to move on shortly to other stories now. And the head of the pediatric oncology unit at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, Dr. Vivian Pentil, has expressed worry about the late reporting of cancer cases. Now, as Ghana joins the world to mark Cancer Day, she's called for early reporting of suspected cases.
Cancers occur when the cells grow abnormally. They mostly come in the form of lumps. There are many types of cancers found in children who are less than 12 years old. The commonest include lymphomas, leukemia.
If you have a brain cancer, that might take a very long time for it to be detected, because especially if it's the slow growing one, because it comes with varying symptoms, and these symptoms mimic other signs, like it can mimic any malaria, it can mimic the enteric fever that we have, and because of that you would think that it is something else. But for those who present with lumps, so if they get a lump like a jaw mass or a lump in the leg, with that they might present a bit early, because immediately they see the lump, they can bring that patient to the hospital.
According to head of the pediatric oncology unit at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, Dr. Vivian Pentil, childhood cancers are curable when detected early. Treatment depends on the type of cancer. 1,300 new cases of childhood cancers are recorded in Ghana each year. The Kolebu and Konfanochi Teaching Hospitals record majority of cases.
The annual cases that we see is around 350. But if you look at the percentage, like the percentage of childhood cancer you expect in the population, it is around 1,102. So if just about 350 of them are seen in these two centers, then we always wonder what is happening to the rest of them. Possibly they are taken to prayer camps, they are taken somewhere, and then they will die.
Dr. Pensil called for support as lack of financial muscle of parents with children with cancer hampers their survival.
A lot of these mothers will come, they don't have money, they have to go outside the hospital to buy their drugs, and then they won't be able to afford. And because they can't afford, that also has implication on the survival of their children, because childhood cancer treatment is very expensive.
Meanwhile, government has been urged to build more radiotherapy centers across the country and incorporate the treatment of the various forms of cancers on the National Health Insurance Scheme to improve access to health care. Well, according to statistics from the urology unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, 7 out of every 100 men in the Greater Accra region is at risk of getting prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer affects the gland that produces some of the fluid in semen and plays a role in urine control in men. It is the second most common cancer in men globally. There are usually no symptoms during the early stages of the disease. However, if symptoms do appear, They usually involve frequent urge to pass urine, blood in the urine, amongst others. About 60% of all cases occur in men older than 65. In Ghana, an average of 400 cases are recorded annually at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra. Although prostate cancer can occur in any man, certain factors such as age, a family history, and race predisposes one to the condition. There are only 3 treatment centers for radiation therapy in the country, 2 in Accra and 1 in Kumasi. Consultant urologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra, Dr. Matthew Yamwachi, says the treatment plan is based on one's age, health status, and the stage of the disease.
When you find you with a localized prostate cancer, our aim is to cure you, and we can cure you. It involves surgery to remove it. It involves using radiation to cure it, which can be either what we call external beam radiation or brachytherapy. Okay, good. These could be quite expensive, ranging from about 10,000 Ghana cedis to as high as about 50,000 Ghana cedis, depending on the modality that is used.
He called on governments to include treatment of the disease on the National Health Insurance Scheme.
We have got breast cancer, we have got cervical cancer for the women on National Health Insurance. Prostate cancer, which is the commonest cancer in men, should be on it. We say that let's put the commonest cancer in men on it. And when we do the statistics and do the voting and do the counting, we realize that prostate cancer, for fairness.
Dr. Matthew Yamwachi encouraged men to adopt healthy lifestyles to reduce their risks of getting prostate cancer.
Watch your diet, increase fruit intake, avoid animal fat, and then exercise. And this could be helpful.
Whilst encouraging men who have prostate problems to seek prompt medical attention, he expressed satisfaction that training of more urologists would improve access to health care.
Yes, to watch Midday Live here on TV3. On our MTN video report today, our citizen journalist Christian Zogli highlights on the poor state of the kindergarten block of the Kweta Adope DA Primary School at Ho West.
This is Christian Zogli in the Ho West of the Volta region. And this is the KG block as well as class 1. This is the pillar that holds the roof, but this is where our kids sit to learn. This is the KG classroom, and this is the board the madam uses. I am appealing to the benevolent society. I am appealing to the government to come to our aid. This is Christian Zogli, your citizen journalist for TV3, reporting from Kweta Adope DA Primary.
And just like Christian Zogli, you can also send your video report via WhatsApp on 055-1433-044. That's 055-1433-044. You still watch Midday Live here on TV3. Still ahead, we've got the very latest and international news. We've got business and sports all coming up shortly. All right, you're welcome back to the business segment of news on Midday Live here on TV3. Now, the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust says all loopholes that foster the misappropriation of funds at the trust have been blocked. Dr. John Ofori Tinkran disclosed the new management has instituted a strong internal audit with a clear policy guideline to avoid the recurrence of misappropriating funds.
Board Chairman of Senate Dr. Kwame Adokufo said the trust will invest in products that will yield good dividends for increased Senate allowances to pensioners. He lauded the contributions of pensioners towards the country's development.
The pensioner and the contributor will be our prime target. We're going to have them, and we haven't failed. We raised pension by 10% this year, by 11%. If that was the case before we came into office, I'm sure when the time comes for people to go on pension, they wouldn't reduce their ages.
Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Oforitankrai, said the new management has instituted a strong internal audit unit with a clear policy guidelines to avoid the recurrence of misappropriating funds.
The systems that we have, the policies and procedures that we have at SNIT are made to work. For example, internal audit. You have to have somebody inside who watches what you're doing. And we've strengthened internal audit. Where there are gray areas, where there is no policy, we've actually come up with clear policy guidelines as to who can do what and when.
Million cedis in tax revenue last year. The transfer pricing unit is responsible for the pricing of goods and services transferred within a multinational or transnational company in order to reduce tax burdens and maximize profits.
On the 31st of December, one of the companies, I won't call the name, had to pay $10 million because the transfer price had settled at an amount of $40 million due from them. And they did pay $10 million on the 31st of December. And so when you convert that, at least from that one single company, we raised about 50 million Ghana cedis from the transfer pricing work.
The transfer pricing unit at the GRA was set up to audit in order to fight tax avoidance and transfer pricing, particularly in the extractive industry.
The transfer pricing unit has been doing a lot of work. And from their work, we've been making a lot of gains. At the least estimation, the transfer pricing unit contributed no less than 400 million to our collections. And it's a unit that was set up not long ago. And so as they perfect their acts, we will be seeing greater improvements.
Transfer pricing is not in itself illegal or necessarily abusive. What is illegal or abusive is transfer mispricing, also known as transfer pricing manipulation or abusive transfer pricing, if not well monitored, could be used to avoid or evade tax.
In other news, the Tema region of the Electricity Company of Ghana has retrieved a total amount of over 1.7 million cedis from 40 identified businesses that were involved in illegal connections during 2018. The amount represented some 2.24 megawatts of power and 80% of revenue collected. These businesses, which were apprehended through assistance from the police, have been surcharged. Some have made payments, whilst others have made part payments. Meanwhile, 19 cases are in court. Speaking in an interview with the managing director of the ECG, the Tema region, Engineer Joseph Forson assured that his outfit will collect all outstanding debts, adding that they will not leave any stone unturned in reducing losses to the barest minimum. Engineer Forson further assured the people of Tema that they will experience improved services this year and a difference in their operations, especially when PDS takes over ECG. These include improved service delivery, meeting customer demand, enhanced reliability, as well as bringing back 24-hour service delivery. The region was unable to meet demand in supplying meters to customers who applied for them and expressed hope that all will be sorted out pretty soon. Well, that's all for the very latest in business news. For more business news stories, you can log on to our website, www.3news.com. Up next, we've got the very latest in sports with Yao Ofusulabi.
All the country at peace, have to fight to keep them peace. I'm an Ivorian. I never done politics, but now I'm a victim of war. And today, they call me refugee. Yeah, peace in Ghana. Before, during, after the presidential election. Peace in Syria, peace in Nigeria, peace in the whole world, United Nations. Yeah, up for refugee with the foundation. One, represent in Africa. One, that's my part of the song.
Always, as he is affectionately called, also showed his rap skills and gave a shout out to Ghanaian dancehall artist Shatawale.
All over the dashboard, nigga came with the pieces of flesh. Send the pussy to the grave with his face half bone. Stomach is ripped up with the beef back on. A nigga always, that's spreading your food. Shatawale, need to link up. Sarkozy and all them kids. I'm an Ivorian. I never done politics, but now I'm a victim of war. And today, they call me refugee. And today, they call me refugee. Yeah, peace in Ghana. Before, during, after the presidential election. Peace in Syria. Peace in Nigeria.
In other news, rapper 21 Savage was detained by ICE in Atlanta on allegation that he's actually a British citizen who overstayed his visa in the United States and may be deported. Cox says the rapper 21 Savage, whose real name is Abraham Joseph, initially entered the U.S. legally in July 2005, but subsequently failed to depart under the terms of his non-immigrant visa, and he became unlawfully present in the United States when his visa expired in July 26, 2006. 21 Savage features on the song Rockstar by Post Malone, which was nominated for Record of the Year and Best Rap Performance at the Grammys. An attorney for Abraham Joseph said his representatives are working to secure his release. And I quote, "We are working diligently to get Mr. Abraham Joseph out of detention while we work with the authorities to clear up any misunderstandings," Dinah Laporte said in a statement to TMZ. Well, that's all for Midday Live. It came to you live from our studios here at Adesawe in Kandakra. We also stream live on Facebook. Thank you very much for sharing your views and comments with us on our social media pages. For more news, you can log on to our website, www.3news.com.